Hey, Nashville, Marie here. At the end of today's episode, we have got a sponsored interview with TaskRabbit. Supriya Sundaram, Director of Growth Marketing, is going to talk to me about the best ways to get your home ready for spring before Nashville gets busy, and how Nashvillians are turning their skills into real income right in their own neighborhoods. Today on CityCast Nashville, social media influencers are everywhere in our city. But do they actually help local businesses when they collaborate? We're talking with Sean Newsom, owner of Hi-Fi Cookies, about influencer etiquette, what works and what doesn't, and why he's had to become his own social media manager just to keep his cookies in the conversation. It's Wednesday, May 27th. I'm Marie Cecile Anderson, and this is what Nashville's talking about. You caught my eye on one of the social media platforms because you posted a video several weeks ago about an influencer reaching out who wanted to collaborate with Hi-Fi Cookies, and it was very clear that it hit a nerve with you. Can you tell us what happened?
Yeah, so the original request didn't so much hit the nerve because we get requests from folks every once in a while who want to like do a collab or...
We want to do a collab.
But this one was like, I don't always check my DMs. For whatever reason, when you change your Instagram page to a business page, your DMs kind of get like weird and wonky. So I guess I missed their first DM. And then I finally followed up with them and I was like, yeah, we could do something together, blah, blah, blah. But like I was still working and I got busy with life. So I just kind of forgot about it again. And then I DM'd again, and it was sort of like a back and forth for a little bit. And then finally I was like, hey, like, I'm in a better spot right now. If you want to do something, let's do something. And then they like sent me an image of like their pricing. And it was just it was expensive, for lack of a better word. At one point to get like a TikTok and an Instagram post was almost like $1,500. And I just responded back to them. I was like, hey, that's just a little too rich for our blood. I like the time, but normally like I would trade product for a post or something if we have to do it. They got a little curt and upset, I guess. And their response to us was, I guess they said they've been following me for a while. And they said that they've noticed that our follower count hasn't gone up in a minute and our engagement is down. And then they got upset with the fact that I wasn't responding to them quickly enough. And that's kind of what struck the nerve, was calling me unprofessional for not responding to their DMs. Mind you, typically when I do respond to someone's DM and wants to talk to me about something professionally, I say to email me. Because I'll answer emails quicker than I'll answer DMs, just because, I'm an elder millennial and I like emails and texts more than I like DMs, I guess.
Wow. Okay. And you're not sharing with the world who this influencer is, which I respect. But in the past, you mentioned you've worked with influencers before. And have any of the collabs you've done, have they helped to kind of move the needle for your business?
It's always hard to tell. It's like, we've done collabs and some quote unquote influencers in the past that have done things for us, and it'll give us content, but I don't always know if it necessarily gives us a large influx of people, just because I think there are a lot of influencers in Nashville now. There are a lot of people who want to live in that food influencer world. So it's kind of hard to like break out. So when they do a post, like anything on the internet, it sort of brushes by people. So we will get folks that'll be like, oh, I saw you on so-and-so's TikTok page. But there aren't like hundreds of people beating down the door. It's like one person or two people over the course of 2 weeks. It's never like a ton of people that kind of come through. So then it sort of feels like it's easy when it's like, hey, I'll trade you a post for some cookies over, hey, I'll post and I'll give you pay me for it. It just doesn't feel worth it. Even back then, it never really felt worth it.
And it feels like these days, small business owners aren't just expected to make a great product anymore. You also have to be your own content creator, videographer, editor, social media manager. How does this make you feel as a local business owner?
Exhausted. It's like I was like talking to my wife the other day and I was telling her, it's like I miss the days when like the heyday of Instagram, when you could just like post a picture of something and that got engagement. It's like, oh, here's a cookie I made, and you post it and it's like you get 200 likes. Or, someone comes to see that cookie. Now you posted just a picture. It's like you get 10. You have to do a video. Like, as much as I'm sadly addicted to TikTok, like a lot of other people, just because I think it just happens at some point with TikTok, it's exhausting making videos. It's a whole thing. It's like Like even you guys doing the podcast with the microphones, headphones, everything, you have to do that to make a video. You have to like make sure the sound quality is right, make sure the video is correct. You have to edit it. You have to add captions because people get real upset if you don't have captions. It's exhausting on top of just like working at a restaurant. You know, I work 6 days a week, sometimes 12 to 14 hours a day. And then interspersed between making dough, baking dough, managing staff, it's like, all right, let me take 2 hours out of my day to make a video because I have to.
Right. Yeah. I wanted to ask, like, how much of your week do you spend baking cookies versus filming videos, answering DMs, posting content, all of the above?
I mean, most of my week is probably like 95% production and baking and dough making. And then you got to kind of squeeze in the video and answering the DMs. And as I do feel bad, sometimes folks will like DM me, even like regular customers, and I don't always get back to them as quickly as I should because it is exhausting. You know, you're trying to run a business, and if you don't have the money to pay someone to do social media, you have to do it yourself. It's sad to say that it's such an integral part of running a business is having a social media presence because that's how people find you and that's how people go to your business. But at the same time, it's just like, I just want to sell cookies to people and make sure my product's good and make sure people are happy. I don't want to have to spend 10, 15 minutes taking a picture or an hour doing a video. Sometimes it's fun. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes like I'll do a video and it's pretty funny. But other times it's just like, I just want to work so I can go home and see my wife and son.
Yes. Okay, so if any influencers are listening right now, what's the correct etiquette when reaching out to a small business about collaborating?
How can I say this without being rude? I think a large part of it is look at your size of your following and look at like how many followers do you have? Are you going to make a major impact on this business? Or is it going to be something that just gives you something to post? I think there's been a loss of the symbiotic relationship between a small business and like a quote unquote like food influencer. It is challenging for a business with so many other things from cost to staffing to labor to scheduling. And I think they lose that. I think a lot of times and I think regular people do sometimes too, forget that like there's a lot that goes into running a business, running a small business, especially just because you're on Instagram and everything looks like, oh my God, look at these posts. They must be so busy. Everything must be going great. It's like most small businesses are holding like a lot of plates and a lot of like things are thrown up in the air that we're trying to hold together. So yeah, this post may look beautiful and this item we made may look fantastical, but there's a lot of work that went into doing that. And then when an influencer knocks on your door and asks to do like a collab and wants to charge you, it's sort of like, well, you're just going to come in here with a camera. You're going to be here for, I don't know, 20 minutes to 45 minutes, post taking some pictures and video, and you're going to get a free product, and then you're going to leave. And I get that's what you do and that's what you like doing, but like appreciate the fact that you're affecting someone's life and their livelihood and you're walking into their space. This is how I help my family feed like ourselves and our kid. This is how we keep a roof over our head. You know, so for a lot of influencers, this is like secondary income to them. A lot of them don't do this full time. They want to, but they have other jobs. They do other things. So I would just wish they would appreciate the fact that like, this is how I feed my family and feed my kid. This is something you do part-time. Take what I do seriously. I'll take what you do seriously, but in the end, it's like tomorrow you could stop being an influencer and your life will be fine because you still have another job to fall back on. If this doesn't work for me, it's a major impact on my life and my family. Like sometimes I get like frustrated with like one of my least favorite influencer things as of right now is kind of the food critic influencer, like the folks that'll sit in their car and get food and critique it. Now, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Everybody's entitled to say what they like or dislike about something. But I also think there's a difference between doing constructive criticism of food or just being like, blah, I don't like that. If you've never had Filipino food before and you tried it for the first time and you don't like it, that doesn't make the food bad. You may just not like the Filipino food. And I think a lot of times folks just skew toward negativity because negativity gets attention more than positivity. You know, it's like it's easier to go to a place and be like, oh, this hyped up place has terrible food and blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to like say how terrible it is because a lot of people are going to react to that over being like, oh, this is really good. And I enjoyed this. People don't respond well to that. And I think the last thing I would say to a lot of influencers is like, treat the small businesses with more respect than you're going to treat these gigantic restaurant groups. My wife and I have been living here for almost 13 years now. And I remember Nashville before we had so many outside restaurant groups coming here. But I think a lot of the influencers, they sort of gravitate toward them because they have the money to pay for influence. They have the money to have a social media team to kind of reach out to these folks and be like, hey, come to my place. And I see like a place opens and my feed is just clouded and like full of people talking about how good this bagel place is or Asian place is or pizza place is. And then I'm like, well, I know a lot of really good bagel place and pizza places that can't afford to do that, that aren't going to get, they're just not going to get that kind of attention. And I just wish a lot of influencers would realize that like, hey, that chain that's like the second location of some place out of Houston, they don't need you. They got it. They're fine. Maybe go visit that small mom and pop place that's making dumplings or bagels or sandwiches over spending your time going to that bagel place. I keep talking about that bagel place because that bagel place bothers me a lot. I'm sorry. So I just think it's like this weird dynamic they have where it's like, I'm going to give this attention to this giant chain and I'm not going to give the same amount of energy and attention to these little guys that are just the bedrock of the city.
Ancient Lore Village is one of the most unique event destinations in East Tennessee. Just outside of Knoxville, this award-winning, fantasy-inspired village feels like stepping into a storybook, and it sets the backdrop for weddings, retreats, celebrations, and private gatherings that are totally unique. Couples can host fairy tale weddings surrounded by waterfalls, gardens, woodland scenery, and whimsical architecture, while corporate groups use the space for leadership retreats, meetings, and team-building experiences designed to spark creativity and connection. On-site, guests can dive into immersive dining, overnight stays, guided activities, archery, axe throwing, and curated group experiences that are anything but ordinary. It's a refreshing alternative to boring conference rooms and standard event venues. Whether you're planning a wedding weekend, executive retreat, birthday celebrations, or private party, the Ancient Lore Village team helps create something highly personalized and memorable. But more than anything, the village is designed to help you slow down, disconnect from stress, and actually make meaningful, magical memories together. To book your wedding, retreat, or private event, visit ancientlorevillage.com. We are sitting with Hi-Fi Cookies owner Sean Newsom, and now we're going to talk about your cookies. Believe it or not, we actually got to interview celebrity chef Christina Tosi recently about her favorite cookies in Nashville, and she, of course, shouted out Hi-Fi Cookies. So for folks who have not had them yet, what's your whole philosophy when it comes to your cookies, and what makes a Hi-Fi cookie a Hi-Fi cookie?
I adore Christina Tosi. She's come to Hi-Fi a couple of times and I've never had the opportunity to meet her. So Christina, if you are listening to this episode, please let me know the next time you come by. She's an idol of mine. I am originally from New York and I used to run a restaurant near a Milk Bar down the Lower East Side. And I would go there after like a long shift. This is back when Milk Bar was just like connected to Momofuku. And I would get either her blueberry cream cookie or at the time they had the corn cookie is transcendent. And I would get that after a shift, get on the subway train and go home. And when I moved to Nashville, I like missed her cookies so much. I missed just like the funky, the esoteric flavors, the uniqueness of them all. And I was like, I'm just going to bake those, as a fun thing. I make something kind of similar, but like not copy her and stuff. So I just started like making cookies that were like fun flavors. And living in Music City, I was like, well, the cookies should be inspired by music. So I just started naming the cookies after artists I like. So we have like, the first one that ever came out was the Marvin. It's like a pretzel potato chip cookie, mini chocolate chips, butterscotch toffee. It's really salty and sweet. The Dolly was the next, fruity pebble cookie, lemon marshmallow buttercream and fruity pebbles, red velvet cookie dough. And it was just something fun to do. And it kind of became my life, I guess you could say. But all the cookies that I came up with were all sort of inspired by nostalgic things that I ate as a kid, from like cereal to like things I would get from the bodega with my cousins, and just wanted to make them into cookie form. And along with just like living in that world, like I love music so much. It's like a deep, deep part of me. So it just made sense to just kind of connect the two.
Were you baking before you opened your store?
So I've always cooked. When I was in college, I started working at a restaurant called the Falafel Bar, RIP Falafel Bar. So like, I didn't want to live on campus. I wanted to live off campus. And my folks were like, you can't live off campus. You don't have any money. So I got a job. And I started working there and I kind of fell in love with the restaurant industry, which much to the chagrin of my parents, when I finished college, I went right back into the restaurant industry. I worked in the kitchen for a while before I became front of the house. So I did a lot of cooking on the line and I cooked at home. I grew up around like my grandmother and my mom that always cooked and baked. So I've been cooking and baking since probably 10 years old. I Definitely made some mistakes in the past. It's a really embarrassing time when the first time I ever tried caramelized onions and I wanted to make them at home and I didn't know you didn't put sugar in them. So I put onions in a pan and I poured a bunch of sugar on them and I burnt my mom's favorite pan, like crusted it over like black and then set the smoke detector off and threw the pan out. That was my first like error in cooking. But after that, I've just always loved cooking and baking.
How do you scale a cookie business and go from doing it for fun to making money?
So that is actually a really big challenge because cookies actually have, not to get into the nitty gritty of like units and cost of goods, cookies have a low price point. So a big part of our business was wholesale. We sell to T-Pack, we sell to Belcourt. We just started selling cookies to like a bunch of places around town. That's how I originally started doing Hi-Fi. When I first started Hi-Fi, I was working full-time at a restaurant and then going to a commissary kitchen in the evening that I was renting from the Nicoletto brothers, from Nicoletto's Pasta. And I would work all day, go there, make cookies all night, and then sell them to places around town. And then one day we had the opportunity to take over the lease of a wholesale partner we had. So we took over that lease in East Nashville and then opened a cookie shop. It is definitely a challenge because obviously it's like desserts are what they are. People don't always want cookies. I definitely will say like October, November, December are our busiest months. And then February, and then summer can kind of slow down and spring can kind of slow down. But I would say the scale of cookie business is really about making sure you have other outlets and other items to sell that aren't just cookies helps a lot because we sell other things aside from just cookies, and then just selling cookies to folks around town that want to carry them.
And I hear you've got some events coming up that go beyond just cookies. Can we get the exclusive scoop on those?
I'm sure you guys have heard of Tiny Desk, the NPR show.
Love Tiny Desk.
So we are actually doing our own version of that at Hi-Fi. I'm not going to say totally who I'm working with now because our first show will be at the end of this month and then we'll share everything. But one of my friends who owns a vinyl pressing company and some of our friends that do video and sound mixing, we got a couple of artists performing. We're going to clear out the space and start doing what we're going to call bakery sessions at Hi-Fi. And we're going to post them on YouTube and on Instagram and on TikTok. And we just thought it was a cool way to kind of showcase local artists in the city. And the focus is just small local artists that we'll record. We're going to do a limited run of vinyl pressings of the actual artist's music. Every money dime we make goes back to that artist. So if we sell on the vinyl, it goes back to the artist. They just cover the cost of the pressing.
And it's just recording, so there's not an audience present.
We're going to have an audience in there. The artist is allowed to invite 20 friends in.
20 friends. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we are recording on the first recording's on the 31st.
Oh, perfect.
We're kind of hoping to make it into a thing where we can get we have 2 artists on the 31st. We're hoping to make it like a monthly series. I think it'd be kind of cool. Nashville's own version of Tiny Desk. Oh, also, I almost forgot the biggest part. I'll also be designing a cookie for each artist that's performing. The week of that video come out, that artist, I get with each artist, figure out what their favorite dessert, their favorite treat is, and I design a cookie around them so they can have that cookie for the week that we're promoting their performance.
Hospitality group could never. That's really beautiful. You mentioned your love for New York City's Milk Bar. Are there any other cookie spots in Nashville that you would want to show some love? Anyone here who has influenced your baking skills?
I will never, ever stop caping for Dozen. I mean, it is the best bakery in the city. Hands down, every year they reminded they are the best bakery in the city. Their cookies are delicious. Their bread is delicious. I would say after them, I love friends at Baked on 8th. They're just the sweetest, kindest people that make the most beautiful cakes in the city. Dozen is one of the, when I first did Hi-Fi and I first started making cookies, I was like, I can't make a regular chocolate chip cookie because Dozen exists. So I have to make something a little bit more funky and unique and different because I'm not going to try to compete with their chocolate chip cookie. But I say Dozen and Baked on 8th, they're my OG places to go for baked goods. And then if it's not them, Cupcake Collection is my other favorite place to go. That sweet potato cupcake is just out of sight. Yeah.
All right. Final question. If someone listening has never had a Hi-Fi cookie before, what's the one cookie they absolutely need to order first?
So I would say I would give them 2 choices because it's always good to people 2 choices and they can pick from those 2 which one they would want to have. The Marvin, which I told you guys before, is the salty and sweet one. And then right after the Marvin, which is our most popular cookie, is the Bowie. That's our funfetti cookie. It's our most popular cookie mainly because kids exist and they love sprinkles. But I worked on it for a long time and I came up with a funfetti recipe that I really like because I don't usually like sugar cookies. I find them to be too sweet, but I balance it out in a way that I think it's really good. It also makes a superb ice cream sandwich, which you can get at our shop. Strawberry ice cream is the way to go with it.
And then what's on your playlist if you're super into music?
So right now I'm listening to an artist named Momo Boyd a lot. I am pretty much always listening to Kendrick Lamar and Beyonce. Music is always like one of those tricky things for me because I'll have like moments where I'll listen to like a newer artist and then all of a sudden I'm like blasting like Third Eye Blind because I kind of like, once again, being an older millennial, like listen to that. And then while we were on vacation, my wife and I were being really nostalgic for like the mid 2000s. So we're listening to like MGMT and Passion Pit. I literally will bounce all over the place with like my musical taste. So it's always sort of hard. Like even when I saw my dad, I hadn't seen him in a couple of months. And he goes, "What music are you listening to right now?" And I'm just like, everything. But most recently was kind of being more nostalgic and listening to like 2010s. You know, we were jokingly saying like, God, the music was so hopeful back then.
I love how much the music influences your baking. And I'm so appreciative that you posted online. I mean, I love that you are your own social media manager. Keep up the good work, and I'll be getting some cookies from you very soon.
Yeah, please do.
Hey, listeners, don't go anywhere. Coming up, we have a sponsored segment from TaskRabbit. I am chatting with Supriya Sutharam to talk about how the platform is making life easier for Nashvillians and creating real earning opportunities for local workers. Hey, y'all, Marie here with Supriya Sutharam, Director of Growth Marketing at TaskRabbit. Supriya, welcome to CityCast Nashville.
Thank you so much for having me.
TaskRabbit is this incredible app where you can find a neighbor essentially to come help out with a household task, or you can sign up to be that neighbor yourself. For anyone who hasn't used the app yet, what are the go-to tasks for people in Nashville?
So furniture assembly and TV mounting, like getting your TV up on the wall for those flat screens, are huge for us, especially with so many people moving into the city lately. But we also handle other types of tasks like cleaning, moving help, and general home repairs. The goal is really ease and quality. So you can browse local profiles, see real reviews from other Nashvillians, and then pick the person that fits your budget and schedule.
So Supriya, I actually hired a tasker to come to my house and help me move. This lovely gentleman pulled up in this big pickup truck and moved half of my belongings. I followed him along to my other location. He was so kind, so sweet, and didn't break anything. So I understand that TaskRabbit has been a real staple here in Nashville for a while, since that was several years ago. How have you seen the platform grow here in town?
It's been incredible. It sounds like a lot of people are having similar experiences to yours. We've actually helped Nashvillians complete more than 27,000 tasks over the last few years. Everywhere from East Nashville all the way to the Gulch, we've become really the reliable neighbor-to-neighbor resource for when life gets busy. We grew from a simple idea 16 years ago. Our founder just needed dog food on a snowy night and built a platform for it, into the #1 platform for home service.
Well, let's talk about the people doing the work. How does TaskRabbit support local contractors, or taskers, as y'all like to call them, here in Nashville?
So that this is a huge part of our mission, because we're not just a service, we're an engine for micro entrepreneurs. On average, taskers in Nashville can earn $47 per hour. So it's a really fantastic way to build a business or to make some extra money on the side. Taskers are their own bosses, so they set their own rates, their own schedules, and work areas. And what's most important is that they take home 100% of their hourly rate and 100% of their tips.
Wow. Okay. If someone is looking to sign up as a tasker today, what should they know?
If you're over 18 and you have a skill, whether that's painting, mounting, or just being handy around the house, we really want to hear from you. We can handle the back-end logistics so you can focus on the work. We also take safety very seriously, so every tasker goes through a multi-step vetting process, including identity verification and background checks.
So I think everyone here in Nashville is so excited for spring after the winter we had. And part of welcoming spring is the process of spring cleaning. So personally, I think about going through my clothes and seeing what's worth keeping or donating every spring. But what are some household tasks people should be thinking about as we're getting ready for spring?
So I know from visiting Nashville very often that spring comes at you really fast. So right now is the perfect time to think about all the maintenance that's going to be required so that you can make the most of your summer. So we're seeing a lot of residents booking taskers to help with things like indoor organization projects, checking for drafty windows, and then clearing out gutters before those heavy spring rains. And don't forget, when the weather is starting to shift, it's a really great time to beat the spring rush for things like mounting your new TVs or getting a head start on deep cleaning before the city can get really busy. So whatever the task, you've really got a neighbor ready and here to help.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and schedule somebody to mount my TV that's been sitting there on the ground, believe it or not. It needs to be mounted ASAP. So thank you so much.
That's great. We're happy to help. Thank you.
If you're in Nashville and you need a hand around the house or you want to start earning as a tasker, head to taskrabbit.com. We'll have that link in our show notes. Thanks for listening. That's all for today here on CityCast Nashville. Want to support this show and get great perks? Become a CityCast Nashville neighbor today at membership.citycast.fm. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell your friends? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our CityCast Nashville newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Toodles!